Good morning, everybody. We're back. Did you miss us? We're a little late this morning. We had some technical issues. My apologies for that. Had a forced reboot for an upgrade for some software. And yeah, good morning, everybody. We're back. And everything decided not to like me. So, that's the way it goes. So let me just, for you guys in the room, let me just do one thing here. Because we might as well share what we're doing with you too. One sec here. Okay, as you may have already guessed, I am not Carlos. And with me is not Norm. Hello, not Norm. Where's not Norm? Not Norm? Oh no, I've lost not Norm. All right, Thor is going to be with me, hopefully. I don't know what happened to Thor. He's disappeared. Where are you, Thor? Where are you, Thor? I can't see you. You're not on the mic in the room. There he is.
There you go. I can hear you before. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine. Okay. I think we can...
Well, I had you for a second.
Oh, man. Now you can't hear me.
For some reason, I keep losing audio from you in the room. 1 second it'll work, and then 1 second it won't.
Oh, no.
So, unfortunately... I'm going to try and reload the room. Maybe that'll do it.
We're having some challenges, as I said, here this morning. We'll see if we can get that...
Yeah, I just can't hear Peter. Let's see. I'll try and reconnect audio.
You guys can hear me, right? Okay. AJ can hear us both. Yes. All right. Wow. Thor is... I see him shaking his head. Thor, we can do this. I can leave this microphone on, and then you can hear me this way, and that way we can sort of talk
That'll
through.
work.
We'll use kludged software together. All right. So,
all right,
good morning,
work.
everybody. Hello, Bear Bull Traders family. Hello, all our friends on YouTube. My apologies for the delay in getting started. As you can see, we're not your normal crew. We are sort of filling in and not doing a very good job of it so far. But however, we will pick her up here because we're already now 10 minutes behind. And there's a lot to talk about this morning. Yesterday, for those of you that were in the room with me or on the Closing Bell show on YouTube, we said, just beware of October. October traditionally, so overall, October is actually a pretty boring month. Right? There's not a lot that happens. It's usually a fairly stable month. However, the biggest drops in stock market history have all happened in October. Right? The crash of 1929, the crash of 1987, both happened in October. And I just, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but we just have to remember that those big events happened in October. So this is potentially a tumultuous October. We know that there's a lot of uncertainty in the market because of the elections, civil unrest in the US. There's lots of stuff going on that can just cause jittery action in the markets and uncertainty, which can create some drops. So we may be starting to see that this morning. So anyways, I do not want to be prophetic on that. I hope that I'm completely wrong and it is boring. Let's all cross our fingers and toes for a boring October. That's really what we want. However, here we are. So Thor, maybe if I could pass it to you, you can take a look at the market overall, and we've got some announcements that are happening this morning. Let us know what's going on out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got good news and bad news today, which is going to make for a really interesting and really volatile market today, I have a feeling. The bad news, we'll do that first, is that the FLOTUS and the POTUS, President of the United States and the First Lady, have both come out saying that they've contracted a coronavirus, the COVID-19. So that is what is causing a little bit of our sell-off this morning, or all of our sell-off this morning. Just a real obvious indication of how uncertainty really drives the market, and how when people aren't sure about what's going to happen in the future, they start pulling their money out, and you can kind of see that. On the better side of things, we had the non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate come out this morning, and that actually looked really nice. We were looking to do somewhere around, I think the non-farm payroll, they were looking at adding, I think it was 800,000 jobs. They ended up adding 875, I think, so a little bit of an overshoot there. And then the unemployment rate was expected to be 8 point something and ended up being 7 point something. So we've got really good news on that side. So, but it's going to just be really, really interesting to see how the market overall responds to such a mixed bag of news. And it's going to really probably create some difficult trading today. So, and of course, as Peter was saying, classic October kind of situation. We've got this going on now, and we're really close out to the election, so people aren't liking the uncertainty. That's for real sure. At 9 a.m., we have Philadelphia Fed president speaks. 10 a.m., we have consumer sentiment index, and we have factory orders coming in.
All right. My cameras are not cooperating today. So guys, you're going to have to imagine what we look like. Picture in my case, sort of, maybe a debonair Clooney, but better. And I think in Thor's case, you're definitely picturing maybe The Rock, but not as flabby as The Rock, a little more jacked and built up. So just picture that, and then you know what we're looking like. So. All right. So with that, yes, it could be an interesting day today. So maybe before we get to some of the things that are moving today, and before you guys provide the comments, I know that some of my screens are a little tiny. I'll do our best to list through that. I don't have the same advanced software that Carlos has, as you can see so far. So if you can't read something, I'll try and say it out loud. Yesterday, we had a couple of things that we were watching that really sort of moved for us. BBBY was certainly a trade that a lot of people took off the open. I actually took an open trade on it as well. Right here, I mean, it looks pretty choppy, but there was an excellent sort of fallen angel where you could have got in right above VWAP, taken this ride up and had a good trade. Notice it came right back to this exact same level. We talk about these levels being magic, and if you look, this is a good opportunity just to see how this level held when it came down like to the penny, and then it went up for even a further run. So there was definitely a good opportunity to play BBBY in the morning, and then as BBBY often does, I have to be careful to say the right number of B's. BBBY. Anyways, it sort of deadened out in the afternoon, and I'm familiar with that. Bed Bath & Beyond often does that until it dropped in the afternoon. Now that drop in the afternoon was largely happened on everything, because if you look at the SPY yesterday, pretty boring, right? Like there was some movement in the morning, and then it just chopped around VWAP until we got a news event. So to the warning I gave right at the top, I just want everybody to be aware. News events are getting very easy to spot because they're causing these massive moves in the market. The market is very reactive, overreactive to them, because look what happened. It drops, and sure enough, it came right back to the exact same level it had dropped from. Why is this important? Well, one, you can't predict them. The drop will happen before you hear the news, right? It's the way it works. We'll hear the news, but it's going to be 30 seconds, 45 seconds later. It doesn't help you if you're in a long trade and you got caught in this, right? Like it could be disastrous. So just remember that if these drops happen, they're going to be sudden. You've got to be on your toes, and you've got to be ready to react to them. So like I said earlier, I am a little nervous in October because I know big drops happen, but it also means big recoveries can happen. But just be aware that anything can happen sort of this month, and be cautious of it. Something else we were watching yesterday anyways, Pepsi, it did have earnings. I didn't find it to be a great mover. I don't normally watch Pepsi. If you look at this move, it's only $3 over $140 stock. I never ended up trading it throughout the day. What I did trade is my old favorite, so AMD, even though pretty crappy, right? This is typical of AMD in a lot of stocks. I know a lot of people don't like to trade it because it did this stuff. But then, right, then it does what I love, right? And this is what I watch and wait for all day. Suddenly I had a double bottom, and then look at the run we've got. I find this is typical of AMD, and which is why I like to watch it. You've got to live through the bad stuff. Just keep watching patiently. Eventually, it'll give a signal, which it did. Then you've got an opportunity. Anyways, that's AMD. And then we had two IPOs I wanted to mention, because the IPOs actually worked fairly well yesterday. We've had a few of them in the last few days. Thor, you and I were able to trade one the day before. On what did we trade? ASAN, or was it the other one? I can't remember.
I think that was it.
It was, anyways.
I trade so few. You think
Yeah,
I'd remember?
We both traded it, and it worked out well. But Lung had a pullback on the right on this open, the launch of the IPO. Again, look at this double bottom pattern that I like, and then you had an opportunity to play it before it deadened out. So, you know, it wasn't a great trade all day, but you don't expect, at least I don't expect that out of IPOs. I'm looking for just a good jump. AVO was good right out of the gate. Came out of the gate. You could have played it using my strategy. Wait for the 5-minute high, which is set. You take it over that, and you would have had a nice couple of dollar run on it. So again, flattened out. I don't expect IPOs to be sort of a good trade all day. You're really looking for whether you're going to get that initial pop, which we did. So that was yesterday. So let's now look forward to today and see what we're going to be able to get going here. So, all right, got a couple of rows in here, and let's look at the market because we've got some big movers. Let's start with the ups because we have few of those with the market being down this morning. NNOX. Oops, I gotta type it right. NNOX and CODX. Guys, I'm gonna have to go fairly fast through these because we are running a little late, and I talk a lot. All right, NNOX. I did not find any news on NNOX this morning. Thor, did you see anything?
I'm checking a couple of spots here. Let me see. Recent IPO on NNOX as well, I think, but only in like September, so it hasn't been around that long. There is a shareholder alert. There have been alerted, shareholders have been alerted of a class action lawsuit and a lead plaintiff deadline on November 16th. So it looks like they've got some illegal action, and it looks like it's tied in with the NKLA kind of situation.
Right. Okay. Well, it could be. I said I didn't find any specific news. So I guess we'll just assume it's general, you know, there might be something in the background. Guys, one of the things I'll just point out right now, I'll only do it once here this morning, NNOX, being that I've got my good buddy Thor here, let's talk about Thor's tinfoil line. The tinfoil line is what we talk about when some stocks have basically a settling of accounts that happens right at 8 a.m. So look right at 8 o'clock. See this big candle here? Tiny body, giant wick, right? What I will do on these is I will always mark them with the low and the high of the wick when I find them, because you can find that during the day, a stock will sometimes, it'll leverage that line. It somehow has significance that it'll either trade within it. When it breaks out, it can often break hard, top or bottom. So I watch that range in case it comes into play. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but it's worth watching. And NOX, I notice, happens to have, again, one of these, what we call the tinfoil line, this big candle. So we'll see if it comes into play on that stock. We may see them on others. All right, CODX. Not great pre-market action, a little choppy. We've got 350,000 shares. I didn't have a chance to look this one up. Anything you see news-wise on CODX, Thor?
Let's see. Not really. They have some information about some new product stuff coming up. Logic Smart Kit to be used with newly authorized saline oral rinse or something. So I think they've got like a new product that's coming in. But they don't have any upgrades or anything that's really happened for, I don't know, since May. So there's not a whole lot going on here.
All right, well, I'll leave them here for now, and we'll see what happens. And I just highlighted, guys, this is the list we're going through, the list of gappers on the upside, and then we'll go through the down gappers over here. So this is what we're looking at. All right, so I'll just leave Codex there for now. Twilio, I don't know why it jumped up. It's have just over 100,000 shares, which is what we look at for a gapper. Up 8%, but the price action is terrible. I have no interest in watching this at all. So VXRT is next on our list here. Price action is not bad pre-market, almost 1 million shares. It's up 5%. Again, I couldn't find any news on VXRT. Thor, do you see anything out there on it?
Vaxart. More class action lawsuit stuff. I know that. That was yesterday, though. So nothing really new today, but yesterday looks like the Gross law firm announced class actions on behalf of shareholders of VXRT.
Right.
So, and I guess the final deadline of that is starting to approach. So maybe people are just getting cold feet. Although it's a gap up, so who knows?
I don't normally pay a lot of attention to those lawsuits because it happens all the time where you get these
Yeah.
almost like these ambulance chaser law firms. Pardon me if you're a lawyer out there and this is what you do, but because there always seems to be a class action. Somebody's lost money investing in it and they want to put a class action against the company. 90% of the time they amount to nothing, both in terms of stock price action and in terms of actual punitive action against the company, because it's usually not tied to the company at all. It's just market activity. It is what it is. So anyways, we'll see what happens. SRNE is the next one on the list. I know a lot of people have been watching it. I don't like trading SRNE, but I notice we've got another tinfoil line going on here. Unless you tell me there's some big news on SRNE, I'm not going to pay a lot of attention to it today, Thor.
Yeah, nothing overly standout.
Okay. Why is my list? Oh, I want my tip window. Give me a tip window.
Actually, they're probably popping. They're probably actually popping because of the president's situation. SRNE, I know, does therapeutics, I think, for like antiviral therapies and stuff against COVID. So they're probably actually popping just on the news of the president catching coronavirus.
Well, it could be. Maybe we'll come back and we'll put a level on it. I mean, then that was interesting news, right? That they had to announce that the president has contracted or at least tested positive for coronavirus. I know they said there was an aide, somebody, anyways, who also tested positive for it. So, in any event, all right. So now, guys, we're going to take a look at the down list. So over here, we're going to take a look at all those that are decliners, and as you can see, it runs off the bottom of the list. We got a ton of stuff going on. Not a surprise with the markets overall being down. As we said earlier, the markets are down 1.7%. So $5 on the SPY, so that's a fair move. So let's start at the top of the list here. I'm only going to pick some highlights, starting with Meso, M-E-S-O. Pre-market action looks absolutely horrendous on it. So Thor, unless you tell me you found some awesome news, I'm not gonna look at it. Okay.
Yeah, pass.
All right. Thor doesn't like it. That's good enough for me. All right. RQT also looks absolutely terrible. Not liking that at all. Jeez, what are these? These are like symbols I don't even know. BE is next on the list. Also looks terrible. Not good. Again, I'm just gonna you stop me when you have news on something that we should be looking at, Thor. HYMC also equally ugly. My goodness, I'm not liking any of these. What are all these stocks? I don't even know what they are.
I don't know.
Highcroft Holding Corp. Like, it's funny when Sava. Okay, I know Sava at least because it's been on the list before. Pre-market action. And when I say it looks terrible, guys, by the way, look at this. Right, we've got only a few candles. We've got a number of minutes where it's completely flat price action. Right, you don't even have a body on the candle. No wicks, no body, nothing. Literally, you had one trade. Usually, that's indicative of like you had a single trade at a certain price, and that's why it's just a flat bar, right? So you had some shares traded, but look at this. Like this minute, we had 100 shares that traded. So obviously it's a single trade. So yeah, it's nothing that I really want to look at. So I'm just going to, all of these so far, get rid of them. All right. Let's move down the list. What? Space. How about space? OSTK. I know people like OSTK. I've never been a big fan, but let's take a look at OSTK. Pre-market action looks awful. Daily chart does not look good. I mean, this is pretty flat. Look at this, very flat price action. So I'm not a huge fan, to be honest. SPCE, we have to stop calling it space. It's actually Virgin Galactic, but space, the final frontier. Anyways, pre-market action doesn't look great. the daily sort of looks interesting. We may get a potential drop here if it's going to continue to leak, especially with a weak market. So that may happen. I like space potentially to keep on my list. Or SPCE, sorry. So I'm going to leave that on my list. NKLA. Now, NKLA has been a good trader over the last little while. Pre-market action is not bad. Daily, well, it was making a recovery here, so I'm not sure what that means for today on the daily chart. But at least this pre-market action is a little bit better. Almost 1 million shares traded on NKLA, so it looks better to stay on my list. And it's swapping positions with SPCE on my list.
Yeah, NKLA is carrying some downgrades as well, so it also it's got a little help on this plunge, which is at least it has something going on.
Okay, well that's good to know. Next one we'll move to is NCLH. Doesn't look great pre-market. The daily doesn't give me any excitement, to be honest. But is there any news on the cruise lines today? Because I see CCL's also on the list.
I'm checking now. I don't know if there's any specific news, but I mean, you know, these travel stocks are completely beat up anytime there's bad COVID news.
Right.
So they actually, some of these like CCL and they've actually had some upgrades recently, thinking that, you know, it's about that time. But then of course everyone starts doing that, and then it comes out that there's some breaking COVID cases, and then everything kind of goes the other direction. So it's really hard to play these. I've personally been playing CCL a lot because it trades really clean when it gets going. So NCLH is a nice substitute as well.
Okay, well that's good to know. I haven't typically been trading it, so. All right, well, I'll leave it on the list for now. Tesla, I noticed, it's been actually a fairly good trader. And Tiffany in our room has been trading Tesla fairly consistently and doing well at it. It could be spready, sorry, on the stock, and the moves can, you know, be jumpy in terms of $1 or $2. But if if you have confidence in it and you stick to your strategy, there is an opportunity to trade it. We might want to set some levels. The daily for the last few days doesn't look great on Tesla. It's really been doing, not big movement, hasn't been going anywhere. Colton is saying that Tesla released deliveries today, so that could that could actually have some effect on the stock. Were they good or bad? What did their deliveries do?
Let's see.
While you're looking that up, the last one I'm going to look at here is Rocket, just to see what we've got. Rocket is it
looks like good news on Tesla.
Okay. Well, it's down.
So deliveries were at 140,000 for the quarter, which exceeded estimates pretty well.
Okay.
So,
right. Well, they're down and down almost 5% right now. So, yeah, this could just be market drag on them. We'll see what happens with Tesla. It might be worth leaving on the list. And RKT, it had a good day yesterday. If I move back just on a 5-minute chart, you can see yesterday Rocket had a strong day. It just moved up all day, so a good day. I don't know if today we can expect the same. I didn't see any news on it yesterday driving it. I mean, look on the daily. It had a much bigger sort of ATR range yesterday than it had in the previous couple of weeks. So maybe it'll be a mover today. So far, pre-market, looks okay, but not fantastic. Anything you're seeing specifically on Rocket?
So Rocket surge company shares surged on Realtor.com partnership. So that was announced on the 1st.
Okay.
So which is pretty cool. And then Caliber Home Loans is filing their initial public offering as well. So I think there's kind of a tie-in there with more mortgage companies coming to the table. I think it's making it look a little more desirable, perhaps. But that combined with their recent partnerships, it probably explains why they had a real nice rally yesterday.
Right. Well, I guess that might be it. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if that yields some movement today that we can play with. So, guys, there's more stuff going on. Let me just ask for anybody in the room or anybody on YouTube, any other stocks you'd want me to take a look at. Otherwise, we're just going to go quickly to announcements and then we'll come back and set some levels. Workhorse. I did not look at Workhorse. Let's take a peek at Workhorse. Oh, well, it's moving right now. Pre-market, not bad. Might leave it there. It's coming to an interesting place in the daily if it drops, especially with the market being weak. If it starts to drop these levels, we could have a run down here quite a bit. So, yeah, Workhorse might be a good one to take a look at. I see that. NIO, we're now doing all the electric cars, are we? NIO's a tough one because I find that like the daily doesn't look great to me, right? Because it's not really big movement most days. The market, pre-market action, always lots of volume. Like it's already got almost 5 million shares, but it tends to be choppy. And then it opens and you might get a great move on NIO or you might get nothing, right? So I'll leave it here because NIO, as I said, it can be worth watching. I know that Andrew in the room has been trading it, or at least watching it, and had some trades on it in the last little while. And the last DKNG, actually I'll do one more. I see that Dan is asking on YouTube on Peloton because it actually moved good. DKNG actually not bad pre-market. We got some smooth price action. It was trying to make a move up here yesterday. Look at yesterday's candle though, like it's sort of a doji here. So today we might get some weakness with the market, being that they were unable to really push this price up yesterday. It looks like so that is interesting. And the last one that we had suggested was Peloton. Let's take a look at PTON. Pre-market not looking great. Daily chart looks nice though. Let me go back to my 1 minute here. Yeah, see the pre-market not looking great, but the daily, geez, if Peloton is able to push against the market and actually rise up here, if it goes over this 105 marker, what is the actual level here? 105.74 was the high. We could see some price action on it, but it is down 2.3% right now, so it's getting sucked in the vortex of the market, if you will. So, all right, guys, so we got a big list of stuff we can set some levels on. We're going to have to come back to that and do it quickly. Let's go to some announcements. We're really just going to talk about our Trade of the Week process and how you can join. So why don't, if I can push over to Thor, being that we don't have a camera, I just put a still frame of Thor there. And here we go.
The resemblance is amazing.
It looks just like you. I mean, it is.
All right, everybody. Well, I'm going to go through a little bit of stuff for everybody and talk about the different things we've got going on. First of all, I'm Thor Young. You can find me on Twitter at Thor Young, and you can always find Peter. You're at Peter BBT, right?
That is correct.
So you can find Peter there. If you're looking for the other people who did this, the normal people who did this, not us, the unnormal ones, right? Yeah, you can follow Andrew. He's at Bear Bull Traders. You can follow Carlos at Carlos MBBT and at Norm BBT. As you can see, we are not Norm and not Carlos, most specifically. You can also follow in on any of the other social medias, Bear Bull Traders on Indeed and Facebook, at Bear Bull Traders on Instagram, and /Bear Bull Traders on YouTube. So one thing that we've been doing that's really been a really fun promo that we've been running, and it's called the Member Trade of the Week. So what happens is at the end of every single day, if you have a trade that you really feel good about and that you really liked, go ahead and mark that trade up. So we want a good screenshot of it. We want you to detail your process, how you marked it up, and then post it on Twitter, making sure to do that. And I'll go through a little bit more of the details on that in a second. But what you can do is, as you're going through, and we evaluate, you'll be eligible, if you get the trade of the day, to get the member trade of the week. If you get the member trade of the week and you are selected, then you can win an iPhone 11 Pro. Pretty fun thing to do. If you do win, all we expect or would request that you would do for your lovely phone is to actually record us a recap of your trade on YouTube for our YouTube, detailing the entire process. That way we can put it up and share it with everybody else.
Whoops.
Sharing is caring. That's true. Yeah, so while while they're doing that, so if you once you get everything put in, so how you're going to do that, you're going to mark that up, get it submitted in, and then you'll you'll be able to get eligible for that phone. So it should be pretty cool.
My bad. A little slow on the uptake.
There it is. Hey, no worries. I've done the slide a couple times, so I'm kind of familiar. So just to go over exactly how to do it, just because I didn't cover it precisely. So you're going to mark up your post for your best trade, and you're going to put it on Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter, you need one. So get one. And then make sure you tag at Bear Bull Traders, at Mike B_BBT, and at Norm BBT. Those are going to be your main evaluators. So you need to make sure you have them in there. Use hashtag BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market, and then we will announce a winner in BBT Monday closing show and on Twitter every Monday. So you get the whole week in there. That next Monday, we get the announcement. Like I said, winner will share their trade book and recap for us to post on the tube. If you want your phone. So, interested in joining Bear Bull Traders? Did the allure of this awesome presentation just drag you in? Did the picture of me with lightning bolt coming out of the runes on my vest make you so interested in Bear Bull Traders that you just can't possibly resist coming and checking us out? Then what I would recommend is checking us out first for a week, and for only $24, code premarket24, you can get access to our onboarding class, and you can get access to the chat and come in and check things out for a little while. See if BBT really fits you. There's a lot of communities out there. We personally feel that ours is one of the best available, if not the best available. We'd like an opportunity to impress you. So use that code to get in there. Once you're in, I think you're going to want to stick around. Most do. So if you wanted to do that, we do run a 35% off lifetime membership. It's a one-time. And if you want to do that, code is fall35. And for everyone else who's watching this on YouTube, if you enjoyed what you're seeing today, if you have a chance, please throw us a thumbs up in there. That really helps us. And then if you want to go live with us in the future so you can get this pre-market show more readily, subscribe to the channel and ring that beautiful little bell, and that'll make sure you get notified whenever we're ready to get rocking.
Absolutely. All right. I was reading the comments in the room, and I have an offer to go to dinner, apparently, if somebody wins the trade of the week. So, or they're asking me to take them to dinner. So I'm flattered. I think that's fantastic. So we'll have to see if we can make that happen. That's how Thor trades, by the way. He doesn't actually push buttons. He just uses the lightning bolt electricity to affect change on his computer and enter and exit stocks. That's how he does so well. I'm convinced of it now.
Completely agree, actually. It's my secret. Don't tell anyone else.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it. All right, guys, let's get
I just hold Mjolnir above my head and command it to be so. It's excellent.
I knew you had something special going on there. All right, guys, let's take a look at some levels. While Thor was doing the announcements, I have set the tinfoil line for all levels on my chart on the 1 minute. So I'm going to move to the daily, and we'll see about setting some daily levels quickly for a couple of the stocks. NNOX is up significantly, 36%. If it goes higher, I'm looking around this level where it's going to be the next one. Now, I have to change the color, I just realized. So let me just configure this. I'll change the color to something that can be seen easier. I just have a thing that the way I do it is my tinfoil lines are in yellow, my actual daily lines are purple, and that way I can keep track. I know what is what. I like to color code all my lines. You can see that, so I know exactly what it is without having to look it up or remember. The other one I'm going to put an NNOX is right here, roughly at the top of these candles. You can see how it hit this level a few times on different days. So, and even over here, arguably. So we'll watch that level around 42. That's all I'm going to set on NNOX. Let's move to CODX. And yes, I am going a little bit at warp speed because we are late. NOX is up. I see a level here at around 1550. The top of this candle, I'm going to put one in here. I actually want to set this to 1554. We're where that was specifically there. Just for, I know people ask me all the time, how do you do that? I just right click and go to config after I set the line, and you can actually reset the price, because I find sometimes it doesn't snap into the exact place I want, and then I set it to exactly the number I want it to be at. So that'll be good for CODX. I noticed back here, see this gap? If we get up this far, if the price gets into the $17, $18 level, there's a gap, and stocks like to gap fill. So that could be interesting for a continuation. If you're playing high of days or you're already in this long, I would look for that to sort of play in that range, move up to wherever the bottom of this candle is, which is the low is 1914. So I'm going to put one right there at 1914, and that way I've got another level to watch. Moving on, VXRT. I always want to call this VRTX. Anyways, VXRT, you can see I've got a couple of daily levels previously, 889. You can see this one here because of the bottom of this pattern. The top of that pattern is at 1240. I'm just going to mark one at the peak of this candle here, 943. We'll just snap that one in to 943, and that's probably it for VXRT. SRNE. I've got some previous days highs and lows, which are good. In fact, I don't think I want to put it. I lied. I'm going to put one up here at the high of this candle at 1218, and that's probably good for that one. SPCE. SPCE, I've got some good ones at the upside and previous day highs. On the low side, here's another gap fill, right? We can see it between these candles. So, whoops, what did I just do? I'm going to put one, a marker here at the low of that candle, and one roughly, actually I'm going to give myself advance notice, sort of at this area where it consolidated. So, because if it gets into that gap, like I said, I'll want to be watching it. So that gives me a couple of levels on SPCE to keep an eye on, and then we'll see what happens with this throughout the day. NKLA, NKLA. So the daily's not giving me a lot because there's a lot of levels just around this because it hasn't moved a lot in the last few days. So I don't really see the need to set anything else. I already have a level at 30.25 I previously set, so I'm just going to leave that there. NCLH. We were talking about, again, always I've got my tinfoil lines, which I will pay attention to. Here, to the downside, I definitely want to mark this area here, this candle. The bottom of it is 1557, actually. So let me move this up properly, 1557. That might give me something to look at on the downside. I see this 50 moving average coming in, so I'll keep an eye on that at 1593 if the price gets down there. And on the top side, we already have the previous 2 days that give me some levels to look at. Tesla, as we mentioned, had some good news, but in a declining market, which may give it some challenges for today. Tesla one, just for the record, by the way, I did not set the tinfoil line on this because look at the multiple candles we have here. I don't know what that means, to be honest, but to me, it might make that area, it's either going to be more or less valid. So I'm just going to put some sort of like daily levels at these just to watch, and we'll see if they end up playing out. I see right now, as I put it in, right, the price happens to be playing or reversed at that level, so that may actually be significant. So that's when the news came out, random. All right, thanks. So yeah, so that could actually be significant, where it actually uses those levels to play with throughout the day, especially if it's going to resist market direction, but we'll see. On the daily, we have to go a long way to find some levels that I actually think are worthwhile. So I'm not going to set anything, and we'll just see what happens. I mean, we have this high up here at 502. I don't think we're getting anywhere near that. 502.49, but I'll put it there just in case it happens to come into play. 502.49, there we go. All right, then let's move on. Rocket, again, pretty flat, which gives me previous daily levels I can play with. The previous day's high and low is definitely a good thing to watch. My guess is that Rocket is going to have what's called an inside day. An inside day would be when it trades completely within the body of the previous day's candle. So I don't know that Rocket's going to exceed these values, but if it does, then it's worth watching. So, I'll worry about levels if it gets outside the bounds of the low and high of yesterday's candle, being that it had fairly significant movement yesterday, but it's down here this morning, putting it back in the middle of that range. So we'll see what happens. Workhorse. I will push the wrong button, and I'm going to set a level here and then one at the bottom of this just to give myself a range. Other than that, we're going to have to watch it and see what happens. I do like it if it starts to lose $21. Yeah, this has some downside potential. We'll see what happens on Workhorse, especially if I think I was told it had some downgrades, so we'll keep an eyeball on that. Neo, fairly flat daily, which doesn't give you some good levels. I'm going to mark this low here of the pre-market. I actually have my other charts that automatically mark the pre-market low and then the high and low of the day, but I'll just put a level there because it looks like, look how hard it, like this engulfing candle came right off of that. So we'll see if it breaks 2070, we could have some room to the downside, maybe down to here around 1880, where you can see this day sort of bottomed out. So we'll see what happens. DKNG, and I'm running late in time. I've got my previous daily levels. That's good enough for me. Peloton, same thing, right? We're in the range of the previous daily levels, so I'll leave it at that. And Apple was one that I saw somebody mentioned. We didn't previously talk about it, but I've actually liked the way Apple's traded the last few days. You have to be careful on it, but it has traded well, despite the fact that daily doesn't look great. You can see I've got some daily levels already set up here at 118 and then down below at 108. I'm just going to leave those on for now and take a deep breath, as those are the levels we're setting. Guys, I apologize for the technical issues, but don't worry. Your old favorites and Carlos and Norm will be back on Monday. They both just had some conflicts this morning and asked Thor and I to step in. Hopefully we were able to give you some information to get your day started right. As Carlos always reminds us on a Friday, you guys know the spiel, right? What does he say? Trade smart, trade safe. Don't go into the weekend knowing that you broke your rules. You don't want that hanging over your head. No matter what happens, red or green, stick to your rules, right? Take a deep breath, walk away if you have to. It's wise advice from Carlos because, you know, it's important. You want to have a weekend where at least you can say, look, it may not have worked out, but I didn't break my rules. I didn't trade without maturity. So, Thor, thanks so much for helping me out here this morning and keeping things running.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me with you, and let's have a great day. I'm with you. Everyone, keep it cautious and try and hold your bias out of everything as much as you possibly can. Your instinct is going to be for this market to be weak and sell off, but we've already sold off, and there is some good news out there, so that we could recover today. We could sell off all day today. It's a very uncertain day, so sit back, wait, and pick your trades wisely.
Yeah, that's good advice. Like Thor said, we have sold off this morning. You know, the general anticipation would be, okay, so we're going to have a big negative day. But we've seen this reverse, like we like to talk about. And I hear Brian out there. He talks about the buying brigade. They're just that resilience in the market, and the people that keep coming in and buying the dips is amazing. So it could very well happen. Or not. I think you've got to be ready for anything, as I said. Just be suspicious of any move, play your strategies, and that should give you the best chance at success. So with that, thanks so much. On YouTube, thanks for joining us. I hope you consider joining us in the room so you can sort of trade with us all day. And we will be going into our open activities. Have a great week.